It's time for another power-packed episode of Headspace with Dr. Mike. Each week, Dr. Mike is committed to addressing real-life, sometimes polarizing and controversial issues while offering practical and informed insight. Listen in as we discuss hot topics that matter to us and the communities we live in.
What's up, Headspacers? Man, it's been a while. Lord have mercy. We've had a lot of work and just lifing. Life has been lifing. Life has been lifing.
Indeed.
First of all, Christy, it's so good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well, Mike. How are you?
You know what? I'm doing good. We got a lot to catch up on, and a lot has been happening. But first and foremost, we just want to first thank God for just allowing us to have another opportunity to come on the airways, and then just want to thank all of you who are tuning in on our live broadcasts. We typically, when we broadcast live on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and then shortly after that, we have the podcast that actually on all your networks when you get your podcast from. Please tune in. We have folk all over the place. Got to give a special shout out to the Mothership Elevation Global Media Group. Thank you so much for just all your love and support. Founder, President Cassandra Ferguson, we love you. We just praise God for you in the ministry that you have. And let's get after it. First of all, Christy, it's the holiday season. How is Santa looking for y'all? How is Santa looking?
Santa's looking good. So it's interesting you bring that up because we have instructed all of our dear friends and loved ones and family not to purchase any toys. Yep. But we have ignorant friends and family and loved ones.
Sure.
They are ignorant. They are disobedient.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to. I mean, Mason doesn't understand what's going on right now. But when I tell you, people, let's just put it this way. Mason literally has a car that he can sit in that Rob or I can remote control him through the streets. Like it's a huge car, and the car has a Bluetooth.
Bluetooth?
A Bluetooth system in it.
So he can broadcast his tunes.
Indeed, he could broadcast Headspace with Dr. Mike.
Wow.
Yeah,
and you know what's funny? He probably knows how to. That's the thing, because they come out knowing how to do all that. Wow.
Yeah. So we haven't bought anything from Mason except for his basic needs. But when I tell you, it's just been one thing after another, and we also had to put the tree up in the loft because we would not have a tree if we left it. Yeah. So it's upstairs in the loft, and he hasn't been up there. He won't go up there until Christmas.
Okay.
He can just see the tree and the lights from downstairs.
But he won't go up there until Christmas. Okay. All right. Wow. How about now? You didn't forget your other baby. You got Jax. Is Jax all taken care of?
Yes, Jax is all straight. Yes, we're gonna take care of Jax too. He's easy.
Oh, y'all. What you say? You said what?
He's easy.
Oh yeah, he's easy. He's easy. Just give him. Look, I remember when you were pregnant with Mason, and that I used to love your lives with the crackers and the peanut butter or something like that.
Yes.
He was tearing that stuff up.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Mike? How's it going on your end?
It's going great on our end. Mike has always been easy, but he's getting to the age now where Santa has to go to the electronics store.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as simple as just going to Walmart or Target and picking up the little toys. It's definitely getting a little bit, and you can't just half step it either. You gotta
go all the way there.
Yeah, so just you wait. But no, we're doing good over here. All right, so we got a couple things. I just want to deal with this first because I think this is probably the most prevalent.
Mm-hmm.
All these celebrity deaths, like they hit you, you're like, wow, I can't believe that. This one with Twitch boss, probably, I think the last one that hit me this profoundly was when Kobe died.
I knew you were gonna say Kobe.
I think that because, like I said, they're celebrities, so you kind of, and you used to him, but you don't really have that connection to him. But it was just something about him. I said, man, that was rough. I actually had to stop what I was doing for a little bit just because it really just surprised me. Yeah, I don't know. The world is still mourning. You know, Twitch. For those that don't know, most recently he's known for being. Oh yes, Paul. Good to see you, my friend. Thank you for tuning in. Glad to tell your family I said hey, and yes, you are loved back. Oh, man. By the way, I do things like that because of this, right? I take time to make sure the people that I'm closest to or close to, or even not so close to, I let them know that they're loved, because you just never know what somebody's going through. And Twitch, I didn't get to finish the story. He most recently was on Ellen's. He was her DJ, and I didn't realize this, but he was the EP, the executive producer of that show.
Yeah. Now that I didn't realize that as well. But yeah, so like the word sad doesn't even adequately like pinpoint the emotion of this. It's a combination of how he passed, you know, his family, you know, his demeanor, and what we believe may have been going on with him.
Yeah.
The holidays. It's a lot.
So many elements.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And my thing is, like, Twitch wasn't somebody who I followed or was particularly like fascinated with or anything like that. I knew of him because of the Ellen Show. Other than that, I wouldn't have known about him. But it was just like, what? I mean, even my mother called me like, Christy, did you hear? Like it really has. She was like, this thing has messed me up.
Yeah. And you know, I'm glad that we keep on having this conversation about mental health, because I think for a long time it has been ignored. So I don't know if you knew this, Christy, but both of my parents are psych nurses. Like that's their backdrop.
No,
like,
I
oh
didn't.
yeah, they met, you know, at a psychiatric hospital in Baltimore. And then through the years they both worked at state hospitals. My mom actually retired from a state hospital. And so I was always around that concept of mental illness, in the sense of like, like my parents did a good job of like always diagnosing us. You couldn't put too much past it. But, you know, it was one of those things that, you know, we used to joke about that stuff, like, oh my gosh, he's cray cray. Or, you know, how many times did we have jokes with people talking about they were riding in the short bus to school, or even the little jokes that we make about that person is, you know, a couple of fries short of a Happy Meal, right? You know, we make those little jokes and we don't realize the impact that truly has, that stuff is real. And it's so real that it's uncontrollable. Right? It's just uncontrollable. I even think about, you know, and I'm not, you know, look, we go in on Headspace. You know, you've been pregnant. My wife's been pregnant. We were even having a conversation the other day, just talking about how the hormones just do what they do, like shortly before when you get pregnant, after you're pregnant, like how it takes all that, like it takes over your body, right? And I praise God. Ooh, I just praise God when you start thinking about when our grandparents used to say, I woke up with my right mind. Oh my God. I just
yeah. Woo. Take that for granted.
Yeah.
Listen, you can be ill in your body, you know.
Yeah.
That of course that's huge. I mean, it's a lot to deal with. But to be out, not have your right mind.
Yeah.
There's nothing that can compare to the significance of that. Like that is just about everything. And we need to thank God that we woke up in our right mind, that we ask God to keep us in our right mind.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to make sure we are very careful of what we digest and take in. Even with this Twitch story, right? Like I keep on hearing little things here and there, and I'll run across some articles. But like when it first happened, like I just saw that it happened and then I left it alone. I didn't even dig any further. I didn't want to know anymore at that point. You know, I just tried to, even when things tragic happen in our world and our society, I try to take my time in absorbing that, or not absorbing it at all. because you got to be, what does the word say? You know, watch your eye gate, your ear gate, all of that. It's important. It's impactful.
Kevin said, I had a friend who died of suicide in 2020 and it's still hard, but Twitch's death hits close to home. Man, first of all, Kevin, good to see you on here from Denver. Sorry for your loss last week, by the way. But was it last week or 2 weeks ago? No, just wanted you to know, yeah, you get it. You get it. Especially, I think all of us actually know some people that, just aren't here now because of something like that. And thank you for sharing that, my friend. Well, anyway, our heart goes out to that family during this time. Apparently, he has he has a family, like, teenage kids, and I just can't imagine. So let's go ahead and take a quick break on that note, and then we'll come back with Heads Up.
All right.
2020 gave birth to a lot of endeavors. Here in 2021, everyone has had to get in touch with their inner producer. Our man Garrett Brace is one of those guys you need on your team. We at Headspace with Dr. Mike are clients of his, as he ensures all of our audio files are crisp, clean, and cool. If you have any audio, video, and even lighting needs, hit him up at G Walt Services on Instagram. Remember, G Walt Services, servicing all your audio, video, and lighting needs.
Wow. So as we are heading into the holiday season, we're in the holiday season. I don't even know why we're heading into it. One of the words that just comes to mind is joy. And, it's funny because joy is one of those words that I just love. And, in the Bible, I love that there is so many references to joy throughout it. Psalm 35 says, for his anger, speaking of God, is but for a moment, and his favor is for a lifetime. Weeping may tarry for the night, but joy comes with the morning. And one of the things I love about that is that this talks about the fact that, no matter what it is that you may be going through, it does not last forever, and that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And, one of the things I even want to encourage somebody even now who is contemplating suicide, one of the things is, first of all, there is help that's available to you. There is a lot of outlets for that. And one of the things I just want to, if you don't hear anything else, you hear that there is light at the end of the tunnel. This doesn't last long. We just came through a storm here in Maryland. And actually, I was trying to fly back from Texas, and we actually flew into the storm to get home to Baltimore. And I'll never forget, the pilot said about another 30 minutes, I'm going to have the flight attendants sit down because it's going to be just too dangerous for them to be up and about. But we know that after about 20 minutes of that, it'll be over and they'll be able to get back up. And sure enough, that 30-minute mark hit. They went and sat down. They did what they had to do. We went through the turbulence and that sort of thing. But then in about 20 minutes or so, matter of fact, I think it was even less than 20 minutes, they were back up and people were still able to get their drinks and stuff before the flight was over. And so I recognize that. And, one of the things I really want to make sure that we're thinking about as we're in the midst of this holiday season and beyond it, is being intentional about our joy. Being intentional. Sometimes you got to work at it. There are times, I'm not going to lie to you, this last week was really trying for me. Actually, I'm going to be honest with you. This last few months was just trying for me, not only from a professional standpoint. Those of you know that I work in government, and we're in the process of going through transition with a new administration. And so the challenges that come along with that, there's some personality issues that I'm dealing with some coworkers. But then also just on a personal level, like we were joking when we first opened that life was lifing, adulting, we got to adult. And there's so many things. And one of the things that I'm just grateful for is that, I have to work a little harder at my joy, right? Because at the end of the day, the Bible says that I have no choice. It says, in everything, give thanks, right? It says, these things have I spoken to you, that my joy may be in you and that your joy may be full. When you speak of when you look all throughout the Bible, there's one that I really love is Philippians that says here, So if there is any encouragement in Christ, any comfort from love, any participation in the Spirit, any affection and sympathy, complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. One of the things I love about that is it just reminds us that, you know what, if whatever it is that you're going through, you got to be intentional about that joy. You got to be intentional about it. Sometimes it's just easy. Like, I'm just happy in this moment, so I'm just joyful. But there are other times where it's like, you know what? It's really rough right now. My money is funny. My change is strange. You got all these other things that are going on with you. But you know what I always love is that it could be another way. You got to be intentional about your joy. So one of the things I want to encourage you all as you are moving through this season and beyond is to make sure that you are intentional about your joy. And with that, that's my heads up.
Follow the Headspace with Dr. Mike show on all social media platforms at Headspace DM. We want to keep you up to date on all of our hot topics and keep the dialogue going even after the show. We also value what's important to you and your community. DM your show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook. The next time you log on, you may hear Dr. Mike discussing the very topic or issue close to your heart.
So you all don't know this, but we have like a behind the scenes, like we get to watch each other while we're behind the scenes. And I have to text Christy behind the scenes and said, "What are you eating? Because I want one."
Listen, let me tell you something. I thank God for your heads up. Your head, Lord have mercy.
It's heads up.
Heads up. I thank God for that because that gave me an opportunity to eat my big yellow table fried egg sandwich. And it blessed my whole soul. I felt joy. I felt joy.
She felt joy. See, you didn't have to be intentional about it. You just did it automatically.
It was joy. It was joy.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Okay, so we gotta do this. We gotta do this. So can we talk about Prince Harry and Meghan? We got to talk about Prince Harry. First, I got a question for you. Have you watched any of the Netflix series?
I have. I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Okay, I think we're just 2. We're 1 behind you. We got I fell asleep during one of them, but go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm halfway through. They released, I believe, the final 3 episodes on Thursday.
I hear that's hot and heavy. Woo.
So I am waiting. So this is a funny thing. I started to watch this without Rob, okay?
Okay.
Because I didn't think it would be something he would be into. So Mason was taking a nap. I was back in the room. I had turned it on, and Rob came home kind of earlier than I think I expected him. And he came in, and he sat down. He was doing his own thing, and he started watching it with me, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I was glad because he got into it, but then I'm mad because now that he's into it, I can't watch it without him. Mm-hmm. It's so good and it's so well done.
Yeah.
And you know, I think I realize that I have a bias. I have to acknowledge that. I have a bias. I've always liked Meghan. Even before
even when she was on Suits.
Exactly. I was a fan. But I really don't understand, and maybe it's my bias speaking, and I'm happy to, acknowledge that. I don't understand how people cannot believe them.
Right.
Like, it is to me very obvious that they're being truthful. Like, why else would you choose? It was toxic. And I commend Harry and Meghan, especially Harry. It's more difficult, I think, for him for making that decision for his family and standing on his principles and morals and acknowledging his bias and, and working through that and wanting to get on the other side. So I love that. I can't wait for the second half.
Yeah. There's a couple things going on. I remember when the Oprah interview dropped, and that's when it first started. And that's when it opened my eyes to, look, weren't they partly responsible for the slave trade in England? There's a history there of something. And the fact that she's the first of color, there's going to be some issues. But I think with that one, I kind of saw that piece of it, and I was like, wow. And then I was really impressed that this man was willing to leave it all for her. Like that impresses me whenever, especially, and look, we're on Headspace. You know, we have this thing about mixed couples and that sort of thing. When I see that, I look at that and realize, okay, he has skin in this game. Like, he's willing to take on, I don't want to call it a project, but he's willing to take on what all that means, right? In some ways, even setting aside his own privilege, right, to do that. I think that speaks volumes. And then recognize, I mean, I get the sense that he really does genuinely love her. So
oh yeah,
watching it and recognizing, his mom died from that whole paparazzi thing, right? Like, that was something that was real. So the fact that they're not willing to provide security for his family to protect them, that's a big deal. And I think that's one of the things I appreciate. And then what also was interesting is that people, you hear people saying, they're such hypocrites because they're saying they want privacy. I don't think they were asking necessarily for privacy. They were asking for people to respect them. And they were asking for people to allow them to be able to tell their part of the story, because they weren't allowed to share their part of the story.
Yes.
So to me, I never got the impression it was about them just wanting to live a private life. It was more of, no, we need you to respect where we're at. We're just trying to go to Target to get some baby formula. Why are you following me? Like, why are you running red lights to catch this picture of a, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just ridiculous. And I think that's something the firm, right? Because I didn't even know that was a thing. That's something the firm needs to handle. And what did they say? I think the episode I watched, they said something about one of the things back to them was, well, look, my wife had to deal with that. Like,
she'll deal with it.
Passage.
Yeah, get over it. And the thing is, yes, that is true. But the attention that Meghan got came with more visceral and prejudice, and just it's amazing how life works. Nothing is by mistake. Nothing, is just happen chance. It's just amazing that a member of this type of family, with all of its history, ends up with an American, a mixed race woman who's been married before. Like, it was just like layers of reasons for the British folks not to jive with her. And it just exposed what was already there. And I think that, Harry, I don't think necessarily, yes, he left his family, his privilege for her, but I think it's even beyond her. I think he was able to really, it exposed and it just highlighted all that was wrong with the institution of the royals. And he doesn't want to be, if Meghan was gone and not his life tomorrow, I don't think he would go back to that.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Well, we hope that we hope that Meghan's not gone and he has to go back to that. We want him to be with Meghan because I like them. I didn't realize he had so much swag, and he's a vibe. Like, Harry is a vibe. I'm like, okay, I could rock with him. Like,
and don't you love the way they met though? Like, that is to me fascinating. The fact that they met online, that he didn't know who she was. And of course she knew who he was, but not really. Because remember the very one of the episodes they played the video of an interview way back, a long time ago. And she was like, they were like Harry or William. And she was like, I don't know. I mean, she knew who they were, but not to really choose which one. And so I thought it was phenomenal. I think it's just so well done.
It was. I agree. Not to spoil for anybody, but look, it's on Netflix. Go get it. The one little piece that made me laugh was their first actual date, and he was late.
Yeah.
And she was like ready to sign, like to basically, yep, I knew it. This is what it was going to be, blah, blah, blah. and then he was all flustered. She said he was sweating, like he was really upset that he was late for this, and she said, no, he really isn't that guy, and the rest is history. So anyway, check it out. I think it's I think there's a level of, we all are fascinated, well, to some degree. No, I'm not gonna say everybody. I am fascinated by the whole the castles and the king, the royalty stuff. Like it's a fascinating thing. I think that's why when you speak of, I think that's why Black Panther, we talked about this before, amongst us in the African American community, is really dope for many reasons. But one of it is that whole idea of, we actually have a royal family too. There's the idea that there could be a royal family that looks a lot like us. And that whole idea of Wakanda and the kingdom and all that stuff. And so I think that there is a natural affinity for that. I mean, think about it. All the way back to our fairy tales. Cinderella finds her Prince Charming, Sleeping Beauty, like all those stories that we hear of. I just think there's a level of fascination that goes with it. So anyway, that's good stuff. Let's go ahead and take another quick break, because we got to talk about, Pastor Mal. All right, here we go.
Our world is filled with polarizing topics that land most people on one side or the other. The Headspace with Dr. Mike team isn't afraid to take them on. Monthly, we will invite people on both sides of some of the most controversial topics, from the serious to the silly, to debate their positions. We look forward to charged discussions that will inform and entertain. DM your head-to-head show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook at Headspace DM.
Christy, why does Pastor Jamal Bryant find himself, does he do this on purpose? Like, well, no, I know the answer to this. Yeah. I know the answer to this. Okay.
I have a name for him. I don't know if it's appropriate for this program.
Text it to me real quick.
I'm going to put it in an appropriate way.
Okay, because I'm curious. I want to see.
He's a media tart. Was that appropriate?
So, media tart. So, okay, I can see that. All right, so I guess for me, I see the pulpit as the pulpit and the political soapbox as the political soapbox. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that that's the type of upbringing I came from. I came from a church where our pastor, you knew he had an opinion about politics. And I mean, when it was something that was strictly like, it was really positive, he would take a stand on it. But when it came to politicians, he kind of left it alone. Like, we don't even let, at our church, when they come to visit, they just sit in the audience. Like, they're not allowed to get up on the pulpit and talk, no matter who they are.
Right.
And so that's just our policy. So I think I come from that standpoint, but I look at him and I see him as what Martin Luther, hear me out. Back in the day, during the time of Martin Luther King, that was how the community got their messages, and so they kind of had to blend the two.
Okay.
And there was a blending of the two, and I feel like he's adopted that lifestyle. I feel like that's the calling that he feels that he has. I don't know if that's the right thing to say.
And I understand where you're coming from. That makes perfect sense. I think that you're right. However, howsoever, I really believe that he exploits the pulpit. And that's not to take anything away from the anointing that I believe he has. The man is anointed to deliver the word of God. And what's that scripture that says gifts come without repentance?
Something like that.
I think he exploits it. I mean, the things that the positions that he takes. I mean, everybody has a right to their opinion. I don't have a problem with that, but you have to be careful when you have that type of influence, what you say,
in
the positions that you take in public, and when you're supposed to be representing Christ in the Christian religion and experience. It's, it's a little sticky.
It is a little sticky. So I guess, okay, so yeah, that's that piece of it.
So
However, all right, let's deal with what the issue is right now. Because I mean, he gets himself in trouble. His extracurricular activities gets himself in trouble. But let's talk about this one. He was on a podcast or a radio show, and he basically said something that alluded to the lines that all the land that New Birth has, that they should actually consider, they need to really strongly consider growing cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's in an uproar about, well, I think it first started. The first thing was he said that he feels that they should have a weed section. For me, I feel like I understood what he was saying. The idea was, having a place where people just feel comfortable just to come and be. And we've both been to Atlanta. It is not, especially before COVID, it was not uncommon. First of all, people went to church on Sundays. Like the churches were packed before COVID on Sunday. And there were times where I've been in church on a Sunday and I could smell the liquor on people's breath because they literally left the club. Or weed, and left the club because the clubs closed at like 6 and they made their way to 10 o'clock service. Like they did do. I mean, I will say the culture in Atlanta is a little different than other places because, it's the South. I think they believe, we got to go to church. And so they did that. So I when he said that, I didn't take anything out of that because I was just like, I get what he's saying. But then the idea of growing the cannabis, I feel like I understand where he's coming from. I just don't know. Like, is that the role of the church?
It's like it's a mashup because it's a mixture of, like, I can hear the undertone of him, but he's so used to being polarizing and being unexpected and shocking, the shock and awe of it all, that many times you can miss the underlining or the undertone of his message due to that. And I think that's where we get in trouble. So, the church is supposed to be a place where everyone is welcome and that we don't exclude people because of what they may have done or they're doing or whatever, right? It's a hospital, right? We're all sick in some way. We're coming there to be healed and to be in a community of people who care and love for us. So no, we shouldn't shun a person because they smoke weed or because they come to church smelling like weed. No, we should not. But so that's the message, right? I think that's the message. But to say, let's grow weed. I mean,
I know it's a little rough. So I guess there's a couple sides in my mind, and I'm thinking the activists in them is like, look, I just keep it real. The white folk are gonna make money off of the black folk buying the weed. Like seriously, like I get that's what he's saying. Like, and look, he's like, look, here's an opportunity for us to, if it's going to be a thing, it's legalized, it's going to be a thing. Why can't we grow and be a part of that, making the money? I feel like that's what he's saying.
But is that the role of the church?
I don't know. And I'm honest with you all. I don't know anymore. I don't know. Because I feel like we've gone so far off the path of what I believe that God initially envisioned the church to be, that I honestly don't know.
But isn't that your answer? Isn't that your answer? Isn't that?
I'm really being serious. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what. Because let's face it, you look at the early church was they met in people's houses. They met in people's houses. They it was meant, you had pastors that actually traveled around to them. They actually did their churching part of it because they had to do it in private. But then even when the church was born, Pentecost, it happened in an upper room. It didn't happen in a temple. It didn't happen in a synagogue like that. So this whole idea of the cathedrals and the monasteries was man's way of, I don't necessarily know that God intended for the church to be that. And then these are the repercussions of it. All right, so now we build these buildings. The buildings have to be paid for. So now we have to pay the money because the tithes and offerings were supposed to support the person who was actually serving the people and making sure the people's needs were getting met. But now we have these mortgages. Now we have these ministries that are doing what they're doing. Now we have certain requirements that have to be met in order to get the tax cuts. We have all these things. We have all these pieces to it. So I don't know anymore. Like, I don't know.
So to me, all that you've said, and then saying that what the church, would you believe we've gone so beyond what we probably should be, that to me tells me your answer. You do know. It shouldn't be that way. I do agree. I mean, this is going down a whole other path. I didn't think we were going to.
I get what you're saying. I get that. I get what you're saying. That, yeah, you're right. You're right. And even though we're going down this path, what I'm hearing is we're going down this path that's totally away from what God had intended the church to be. This is a part of going away from that path. That God intended for us to sit and grow a gateway drug that, while yes, it is legalized. Well, look, I mean, because I guess the same argument could be made. Well, you need to have a distillery, or you need to have a vineyard for the wine. Like, I mean, no, I hear where you're going with that, and I thank you for allowing me to process this out loud, because I think I needed to just hear myself thinking that through. And you're right. Yeah, it's not the place of the church. Yeah, it's not the place of the church.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was having a conversation with a member of my church and just talking about, it's fine to we can grow and mature and find different ways to get the message across of the church. But sometimes you got to go back to basics. And like you said, we've gotten beyond where we should be. And it doesn't mean that all that we do is necessarily bad, but sometimes when you keep veering off or adding things that aren't necessarily what should be, this is what you get.
No, I think I appreciate you let me process that. You're right. Yeah, it's my understanding that Vanessa Long, Eddie Long's wife, what did they ever get divorced? I don't know. Widow. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
She basically, now I don't know how true this is, but where it is that she basically said, look, if this is the route you going, the money that y'all give me monthly, I don't want. That's what I hear she said. And I guess I can understand.
Interesting.
Anywho, I don't know. There's so many other pieces to it. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to ask you this question, Christy, because you went to a HBCU. I did not. I went to a PWI. And this whole Deion Saunders piece. Yeah. Deion Saunders. I think it's Deion Sanders. He goes by the way I'm going Saunders. Deion Sanders. So he was at Jackson State, was there for a few years. Now he's gone on to Colorado. What and the stuff that we're hearing now, the vitriol arguments that's happening now about that. And I guess for me, I want to start with that thought of you. You are an alum of a HBCU. What are your thoughts on that? Like, what are you thinking about this?
I don't have a problem with Deion doing what's best for him. I really like Deion Sanders. I really do. I have followed him here and there. I think his heart has been in the right place from the beginning. And I don't know what his financial situation is. I think we make a lot of assumptions about where he is financially. But he's going to get that the same way LeBron did when he left Cleveland. And so people have to do what's best for them and what they feel that their path is. If he feels like he's done what he needs to do at Jacksonville and it's time to move forward, then that's his decision. Nobody's got the highlight on you or the spotlight on you when you leave your small business and go to a corporate, position because of whatever reason you may have. So let the man live. He did what he did at Jacksonville for a reason, and he's moving to the next stage for his own reasons. Leave him alone.
Them, you know what? I don't think many more needs to be said about it. I agree. Brandy, hey, what's up, Brandy? Yes, they better leave Prime alone. She said she team Prime. So leave that man alone. Let him go make his little change. And I think you're right about that. Like, just because a person is not necessarily sitting in that seat does not mean that they can't still have impact. You know, they still can have impact and stuff like that. And I guess apparently, oh yeah, Brandy is saying that. Yeah, you do need to check it out. His last interview says it all.
I missed it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, you do want to watch it. I mean, he does it in his own way, right?
Okay, of course.
And no, I think that's right. Hey, when we come back, the other piece I want to talk about is Brittany Griner, because we did not talk about that, and I really want to talk about that. So let's go ahead and take a quick break.
Focused on photo, versed in video, For Any Media brings visions to life, from headshots to family shoots, casual candids to structured scenes. Our team can provide whatever you need. In Baltimore, you may have seen us at local events such as the Poly City Tailgate or the Randallstown Grom. You can find us on all social media platforms at the number 4 Any Media. For Any Media, for anything. Contact us so we can create.
So my boost chimed in. She said, who's to say he, talking about Deion, doesn't have a vision to take his mission to another level? Yeah. I mean, we don't really know. We don't. There's so many other pieces to it. And let that man be great. I think he did some great things for what he did with Jackson State. I think that there is a movement about, I do talk about sometimes, like, I'm like, I kind of wonder what my life would be like had I gone to a HBCU. That's one little piece I feel like I missed out on. And I get a little jealous of you guys, including you, Christy, about some of the experience that y'all had. But so I do appreciate that. But I mean, I think there's other things that have been actually helping with the whole HBCU movement, between having a vice president who's a graduate of a HBCU. You have a lot of different celebrities, the late Chadwick Boseman, who kind of gave back to Howard when he, started really hitting his prime. And then, of course, the mother, all of our, TV mother, Felicia Rashad, what she does at Howard and stuff like that. So, hey, Brittany Griner's home. They just broadcast. She actually got to get home. She's with her family. 10 months in Russia was one of the hardest things she ever did. Why are we not celebrating as a country that one of our people got home?
I think part of the country is celebrating. But it is what America's gonna America.
So I got something. I think this is because I was telling Chevelle this. I watched too much Homeland. So one of the arguments that was made was the idea that, first of all, there's this Marine that's still there, Paul Westlin or West. Yeah. And then the fact that they made the trade for the Merchant of Death to go back, right? Now, there's a part of me that wonders, how do we know that the Merchant of Death didn't get turned? Like, how do we know that, he'd been here for about 10 years?
He might be a double agent.
Listen,
double agent. Is that a triple agent? Is that triple?
Whatever. It's something.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. How do we know that? How do we know that the old boy that's over in Russia, how do we know when he come back? He ain't been made. And by the way, I'm almost certain that they checked Brittany out for a little bit just to make sure she was okay too.
Of course.
Because, the Russians know how to do that stuff. They know how to get into your head, and the Americans do too. And so I guess for me, the part that frustrates me a little bit, and I guess I get it. If you want to make it out that be the conspiracy theorist that the government is out to destroy America, then I guess that's the narrative you're going to go with. So anything that the government does, any decision that they make is just not going to be a good one for the country. But I just maybe I'm just too trusting.
I don't know if it's about trust necessarily. I mean, we should be celebrating whenever one of our prisoners of war come home, whoever it is, right? It should be a celebration. However, I will say this, and this is not my point. I watch, a few commentators and influencers, And one of them stated this so brilliantly. I won't say it the way he did, but his point was we wouldn't even be discussing or know what was going on. Nobody cared about Westland before Brittany. The fact that our country is racist, homophobic, against women, misogyny, you know, all of that. The fact that we are that is what highlighted Westland's situation. Westland was in prison. This was what gets me. He was there when Trump was in office.
And so Trump said no.
Why didn't y'all boy get him home? Like, come on, let's look at this fully. Let's look at the whole picture and be honest about it. This is my thing. Be honest. I try to look at things honestly. And if I have bias, I try to admit that I have bias and I'm seeing it through my lens. I do realize, I try to realize that. But, you know, nobody was giving two craps about this dude before Brittany got captured and the mission to get her home started. And then it was like, oh, we got another dude over there. He'd been there for 4 years.
Oh, mind you, there was somebody that came home before her. Remember that?
Right. So, you know, I strongly believe that the U.S. is working hard to get him home. And the other part of this is the deal. What Russia was like, listen, you can have Brittany for this dude or nobody. Yeah. So why would you not get somebody home? Are you going to say, no, you can't bring the other dude home, so leave her in Russia? That would have been, the optics on that would have been horrible. So,
and from what I understand, this dude is wanted in several countries, so there's only but so far he can go. He really should not leave Russia, right? He really should not leave Russia. So it is what it is. And then the other side of it is, because I even remember when she first got caught, I was like, girl, why you got the cartridges in the plane? Like, I get why, you know, first of all, I don't even know why we in Russia. Like, that was me. Like, if I know that there's this issue, I'm just not going to be there. I understand why. And so this is not me throwing shade at her, you know, but I understand why, but I'm just like, for me, I'm just like, why are we over in Russia? But then the other piece of it is, I don't necessarily believe that this was the first time she traveled with the little cartridges. I believe that she probably went back and forth.
But do we know she really had it?
She admitted. Well, we don't know. She may have been forced to admit. And then from what I was hearing from other lawyers, they said lawyers there, the fact is that they said most of the time people there that get accused of the amount that she allegedly had was they get like a slap on the wrist or a fine or something. They don't really get
she was a pawn.
9 months, 9 years in a penal colony.
We know she was a pawn, a political pawn. We know this. Absolutely. And so, I mean, and we, again, all of a sudden we're trusting Russia with what she allegedly had. I mean, maybe she did, maybe she didn't. Regardless, she shouldn't have been. That was completely unreasonable amount of time, and that did not, the punishment did not fit the crime, if there was a crime.
So Kevin said Brittany Garner wasn't a prisoner of war, though.
You're right.
Were any of them prisoners of war?
I misspoke. I apologize. You're absolutely right. That was not the right description to use for her. So thank you for that. Thank you so much.
Yes, don't get me banned by the FCC.
No.
Don't get us flagged now.
We don't want
All right,
that.
let's take a quick break and we're going to finish on up. Yeah.
Follow the Headspace with Dr. Mike show on all social media platforms at Headspace DM. We want to keep you up to date on all of our hot topics and keep the dialogue going even after the show. We also value what's important to you and your community. DM your show ideas to us on Instagram or Facebook. The next time you log on, you may hear Dr. Mike discussing the very topic or issue close to your heart.
As we are closing out, I wanted to just ask a couple of questions for you, because I want to see the preference, and those of you that are tuning in live, please chime in as well. All right, so Christmas time, what is your holiday drink of choice? Are we going with eggnog or are we going with hot chocolate?
I'm not going with either.
Really?
I don't really. I'm not a person who likes really, really sweet drinks.
Okay.
If I'm going to have to choose, I would have to say hot chocolate because I love chocolate.
Okay.
So I would say hot chocolate. I do enjoy eggnog here and there, but I can't drink a lot of it. It's very thick and sweet. So just a little dab will do me.
So Brandy said hot chocolate. She said eggnog, barf. Kevin said, Kevin, for some reason I can't get you in my thing, but it says eggnog for Kevin, my man. So yeah, I like my little nog. Now when I do the nog, do you do it naughty or nice?
I do it nice.
Okay.
I'm on Santa's nice list.
All right, I like my nog. All right, here's another one. Are you a gift wrapper or a gift bagger?
Listen, I'm so glad you brought this up. I am horrible when it comes to wrapping gifts. Horrible. But I do it every year because it's my way of showing my love. I think the worse it is, the more pleased and proud I am of it.
So Shavella, yes, she is. Shavella is a bagger, but I'm gonna tell you something. I have been working. She has been a project of mine with the rapping because I'm a rapper. I love rapping. To me, rapping is, first of all, it's therapeutic for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like actually, I save all my. I don't wrap any gifts until Christmas Eve. Like it's like a routine for me. Let's see. Kevin said I can't wrap gifts. So I'm guessing you're a bagger. Brandy said Santa wrap for kids. Everyone else gets a bag. Because I know Brandy, yes, I get that. So yeah, it's a work of art for me. Like, so I actually am very particular about the wrapping paper. Like, I can't just get the dollar store wrapping paper because it doesn't cut smooth.
Yeah. And it rips easily.
And it rips real easy.
Yeah.
I got to get like the good quality wrapping paper, and I like the ribbons, and I do the tying and the crinkles of it. Like it's a
now I want a gift from you, Mike, just so I can get that whole presentation.
Okay, all right, bad.
Look, you can put a water bottle in there. I want the presentation.
It is a process for me. It is a process for me. So, all right. Are you do you stop your Christmas music right after Christmas, or do you let it linger?
I let it linger a bit. Because I really don't start it. I don't start it early like everybody else. Like right after Thanksgiving, I don't start it. It takes me a minute to get there. I'm just like, is it really Christmas already? So it takes me a couple weeks, truthfully, because I'm not even finished decorating. I gotta still do some stuff outside, and we're a week away from Christmas, basically. So
it snuck up on us.
It snuck up on us.
Yeah, it's like, and it's the one date that never changes. It's always December 25th, but it just stuck up on us. Brandy said, "Yes, I'm done December 26th." Chavella's challenging about the gift wrap, and she said it's a presentation. Yes, it is a thing for me. It is a whole presentation. Kevin says, "I linger. It lingers." Yeah, I'm with that. All right. So, are you a chocolate chip cookie or a sugar cookie or a gingerbread cookie person?
Chocolate chips all the way. Chocolate.
That's right. You did say that. You like, so you think chocolate.
I love chocolate chips. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm a chocolate. Brandy said all the cookies. You know what cookies I also like? And they're seasonal. Is the Oreos with the white chocolate covered?
Yeah, that's too much.
Have you had them?
I don't. First of all, I'm not a white chocolate fan, and secondly, that's too much sweet. I don't like stuff that's too rich. I like just enough sugar, and then I don't want like all that chocolate. I love chocolate, but not like that.
I don't know. Don't knock the white chocolate covered Oreos though. You got it. You gotta get the white chocolate Oreos. Well, let's see. Sharella's like a chocolate chip cookies. She also says snickerdoodles are great too. Doodles, yes. All right. Are you a peppermint candy cane or the candy flavored candy cane person?
I can do either. I can do either. I guess if I had to choose one, I would say peppermint.
Okay. 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 I prefer the fruit flavored, like the fruity.
Yeah.
Although peppermints work because you put them things jokers in your pocket and they'll help. But I prefer the fruity flavored ones. They're
Okay.
good. They're good. They're good. They're good. Brandy said peppermint. So we got peppermint there. Good. 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 All right. Here we go. Are you a classical white lights or a colored lights?
Class white lights all the way. I love white lights. I love how simple it is, how it's classic, like you said. And to me, the bulbs and the bows and everything that adds to the tree. The light should be white. My opinion.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Matter of fact,
Brandy agrees.
white lights. Thank you, Brandy.
Brandy
Same
said white lights. Kevin said both. So I think he just admires a good decorated tree. I'm waiting to hear what Shavella chimes in. I got to do the show to find out what some of the things that she be thinking. Because so Christmas is like my jam. Like this is my holiday. Like this is I'm all about Christmas. Shavella's more of the Thanksgiving person. Like she really gets into Thanksgiving and stuff like that, but I get into Christmas. So it is. Do you have stockings for everybody? Do you do the stocking thing?
No, I've never been. I didn't grow up with stockings, so that's never been a thing for me. But now that we have Mason, I am thinking that that's something I might implement. Maybe
Yes, you
next
got to
year.
get a stocking with his name on it, with all your
Hmm.
names on it, and then you always want to have. Well, I'm telling you what to do because this is what I
I
grew up
see.
with. Um, Brandy said, "Oh yes, even the dog and cat." I believe that, Brandy. I believe that. Yeah. So it's nice because that's a memory I always have, and there's always something in the stocking on Christmas morning, like it's just something little stocking stuffer, and it's just
Mhm.
something exciting. So I'm just saying, think about that. Very good.
I got you.
All right. Yeah, do that. Well, everybody, we wish you all just a Merry Christmas. Um, Look, I know we're in the holiday season. I know for my Jewish friends, Happy Hanukkah.
Mhm.
Has Hanukkah started yet? I can't even remember.
I don't know. I believe maybe so, or maybe is it the
Was
week
well,
after Christmas?
yeah, it started December 8th. It starts tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay.
Starts tomorrow and ends the day after Christmas, so Monday, December 26th. So
Okay.
for those of you that are celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah to you all. And then, we'll see you in the new year. Wow. I may come on once before we get out of the year just to do a special, depending on how crazy people be acting and make me want to talk about it. Because Christy will tell you, I will get on the text message real quick and say who's headspacing with me because we got a lot to talk about. And it's fun. It's fun when you have somebody else to banter with it. But sometimes I was going to get on today without anybody, but it was a little funner with having you there. So, Christy, as always, I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas. Wait a
Same
minute,
to
Mason,
you.
this is second Christmas.
Yes.
Okay, it's second
Second
Christmas. Not his
Christmas.
first Christmas. I remember
Yes.
last year we were celebrating. It was going to be his first Christmas.
Yes.
But this is his second. All right, cool. Very good. Well, we wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We love you. May God richly bless you and give you the desires of your heart according to his will. And if I don't see you before, Happy New Year. 2023 is going to be great.
Amen.
Peace.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for tuning in to Headspace with Dr. Mike. We hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to follow us on social media at Headspace DM to continue the dialogue with other Headspacers regarding today's show. Everyone is filling their headspace with something. The question is, what are you filling yours with? Tune in next week.